Hey everybody, and welcome back to a new video. It's Mike here with Mike's Drones and More, and today guys I'm going to answer the question about the one that I reviewed last week, which is, this is the Furibee H801, and my question is, will it whoop? So I'll answer that question right after the break. Alright guys, so thanks for holding on there for me. So, the question was, will this whoop? Now, I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are new viewers and you're asking me, what's a whoop? What's a tiny whoop? What are you talking about, Mike? So, okay, so what a tiny whoop is it's one of these small miniature indoor flyers. So, what it is basically is it's a small indoor flyer. It's got inducted fan blades and it's covered. And then typically what you do is you take one of these. This is a Furibee F36. They make the Eachine 010. They make the Inductrix. There's a whole bunch of different tiny whoops out there that you can use. A whole bunch of frames, whole bunch of different batteries and things like that. So what you do basically is you take the cover off, you solder on an all-in-one camera like this that's got a VTX and a camera on it, and then you can actually fly it first person view, FPV, without having to get a fancy racing drone. Typically they cost about anywhere from about $10 to $15 for just the drone itself. The cameras usually run between $20 to $30 depending on which one you want. And then a lot of these you can just fly them with the stock controller. You don't even have to buy a fancy Taranis QX7 if you want. Now this one I did buy a Betaflight board, so this has got a racing board on it, which is a little bit different, and I did upgrade the motors as well. So this one is a little bit more expensive. Now this one, this is the one we reviewed last week or earlier this week. This is the Furibee H801. So what I did basically, guys, is underneath here I went ahead and I took off the cover, and then so what I did was I first soldered on a pigtail so that way I could go ahead and put bigger batteries on. I'll show you the batteries. So these are 500 milliamp one cell batteries, or you can also use these are racing whoop batteries as well. These are 233.8 volt batteries. And then how this works basically is you just put them right under here like that. They stick right in the middle, and then it plugs right onto it. So you don't have to use the little stock battery. Now also the other modification that I've made to the H801, if you can see right here, to get that battery to fit in there, you have to cut just a little notch out so that the battery will slide in there. So all I did, and I'll try and, there you go, you can kind of see the cut where I kind of just cut the very top of it, so that way that battery will slide in there. And then they also make little foam pieces if you want as well that slide right in here, and that holds that battery nice and snug and tight. So the second mod that I did with this was the stock antenna was just underneath the cover here. So what I did was I took my soldering iron and I literally just put the heat on there, and I made a small hole big enough for the stock antenna to stick up, so that way it would get better range, and it does. And then also you can see up here I've put a all-in-one camera on there, and you can see I had to take the canopy off, and it actually comes in two pieces. So I cut a little square, if you guys can see that at all. So there we go. So you can see I cut a square on each side, so that way I can get to the VTX, and when I race I can change the channel and the band and the frequency and everything like that, so that way I'm not interfering with anybody else's channels or anything like that. Now I've been able to successfully fly this completely from one end of my house outside the front porch, out into the front yard, back again, and then back through my house, all the way through the kitchen, all the way to the back porch, and then back again. I even did a test where I was sitting in my living room and I went outside the front screen, out my porch into the front yard, and I went down my driveway all the way around to the screen door to my porch. Keep in mind this is outside, so you're having the wall from the outside interfering, and it was crystal clear, perfect. I had no issues with it whatsoever. Now, I have ordered some new motors for them. I've ordered the special sauce motors that I ordered from tinywhoop.com. Those should be coming probably by the end of the week, maybe. So I won't be able to test them out this week, but I am going to be testing this out, and I'm going to be taking it with me. There's going to be a Tiny Whoop race coming up on this Wednesday, so I'm going to be doing a race with that. I'll be taking my other Tiny Whoop just as a precaution in case something happens to this one and it crashes and I ruin something and I need to rebuild it. So these are Tiny Whoops. They're small racing drones. So if you guys are interested in getting into racing drones at all, or you want to get into the FPV stuff using the goggles, these are really cheap, inexpensive ways for you to get into the FPV racing, and it's a lot of fun. Now, the other modification I made to the stock controller as well, if you remember up at the top here, this was just covered. So what I did was I opened up the back here. It's really super easy. You take the cover off, and there's 2 screws. So you take those off, and then this comes off. And then the antenna here was actually wrapped around in here. So all I did was I took my soldering iron and I melted a small hole up at the top there. Or you can drill a small hole, or you can Dremel a small hole, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, and I pulled the antenna through there. And that's going to help with the range as well. So I helped with the range by putting the hole there for the stock antenna, and also there as well. And like I said, I've been able to get super awesome range. Now, you're not going to be able to get like super distance with this, because these are not meant to go far distances like DJI Phantoms or other big racing drones. These are meant for indoor racing. But you can take them outside and you can race outside as well. Just keep in mind that they're super tiny, and any bit of wind will knock these out of the air and make it really hard for them to go. So they're really honestly meant for indoor racing, which is super fun because you can go all around the house. You can chase the cat, you can chase the dog, and they're so much fun, guys. These are just so much fun. I can tell you, you can get so many accessories for these. You can buy better frames, clear frames. You can do different kinds of canopies, different kinds of cameras. I mean, there's all kinds of options that you can do. So, like I said, I don't have any flight footage for you guys. But what I am going to do is when I take it out for a race this week, I'm going to go ahead and record the footage on my goggles, and then I'll show you guys what a Tiny Whoop race looks like. So I hope you guys enjoyed the FPV racing this week. I am a new person to racing myself, so this was my first official drone race. So I think I did pretty good for my very first race, considering I've never raced before. I've only flown up in the air in the parks and around the trees and things like that. So it's a lot harder to race in a race getting through those gates than it is just flying in a park. So guys, if you liked my short video about the H801 and the Tiny Whoop and explaining how that works, please hit the thumbs up button for me. And if you like, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button. And if you want, you can hit the bell. The bell just lets you know when I've got new videos, Thursday, Friday, Sundays definitely, and we always have, hopefully, a weekly FPV or a weekly FPV racing drone. Depending on the weather, of course. So, that always goes. Thank you guys for all the comments and all the support. Thank you for all the new subscribers coming on. I really much appreciate that, guys. I do read each and every one of those comments, and I try and get back to every single one of them that I can. Sometimes I can't always get to them right away, but I do try and read every one of them. And just keep this in mind, guys. If you use any foul language in the comments, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to remove your comment. If you're being rude to another user on the forums or on the comments, I'm going to delete it. I do moderate all those comments, so if you're being rude, just know that your comment will probably most likely be removed. So, being with that said, guys, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for watching the video. If you're interested in Tiny Whoops, let me know, and I'll do a lot more videos on the Tiny Whoop and the Tiny Whoop racing. It's so much fun. It's a great way to dip your feet into the FPV world and start racing. So it's so much fun. So guys, in the meantime, while you're waiting for the next video, let's keep our drones up in the air and flying high. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for hanging out, and have an awesome day.